This video will teach you how to create an original greeting card design using this provided template. When you go to the Google Classroom assignment, there will be a vertical and then also a horizontal template option. You'll see it says 7x10 folded and it's an AI file. So this is for Adobe Illustrator. When you open it, it's going to look something like this. You're going to see lots of grid lines here. You're going to, if you zoom in, see more information about the inside back, the inside front. BK stands for back, FR stands for front. So that gives you an idea of where it's going to fold, which is the center line here, and also an idea of kind of where you're going to place everything. So this is where you just want to make sure that you don't lose your work. I'm going to zoom back out here for a second. Because it's such a wide layout, you'll definitely want to play around with zooming in and out. So I'm going to just use a magnifying glass on this one, for example. So this is just the front and the back. So this is the outside of the card, if you think of it that way. And it's going to look a little different if you have the horizontal one. Now, the other thing to pay attention to is you'll see there's information about the bleed. So for fold bleed, it's this extra area here, the cut line, which is there, and then safety line. So that safety line, you definitely want to keep any super important information within that line. Finish size when it's folded is 5x7. When we cut it out, it's going to be a 10x7 because when we fold it, then it will be 5x7. So when you're starting, we're going to zoom back out here again. When you're starting, you really have to consider the whole piece. And oftentimes with cards, you're going to have one full background design or background color. So rather than this side being one color and this side being something else, usually it'll be all the same across the whole thing. Now, I went into my Brush Easy account and I actually found some tartan plaid patterns that I really liked. And just to walk you through that again, I made that video that shows you how to download patterns. But there are tons of patterns on Brush Easy. You can see there's like 15 pages, right? Where you can just keep going, keep finding all these different patterns, and they're all free for you to use. So I want that tartan one. Let's see if I can go back here. There we go. And I'm going to download that. There's a couple different versions. And I just want one of these as like a background. You know, this just kind of reminds me of Christmas. So I'm going to click on free download and then I'll install it. Now, that's what I'm going to use on my background here, but I actually want to do some work on it in Photoshop first because I want to do a lot more artsy stuff in Photoshop. So I have Photoshop here and I did actually open up. So if you go to File, Open, and you open up, you know, the work, you can do it that way. Or I just like to do it even this way. You just say File, New, and then you just set it as 10 inches wide if it's vertical, 7 inches high. And then if it's going to be horizontal, you just reverse those. So it would be 7 for width and 10 for height. 300 DPI looks good. Whoops, change my orient. I don't know what my orientation is doing there. That's fine. There we go. Okay. So this is what it looks like. This is my blank canvas. I downloaded that pattern, but I haven't installed it yet. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So Tartans and Argyles is what it was called. I'll double click on it. And then it's going to give me this pattern file. So again, double click on that. Just by double clicking on it, it should install it in Photoshop. Hopefully. There we go. All right. So it took me to Photoshop. And now I'm just going to fill up this whole space with a rectangle. So I right-clicked on that, make sure it's set to shape. And we'll click and drag from one corner to the other. Okay, and then I need to set the fill. So change the fill up here, go to pattern. Now I can find tartans and argyles. Look at all these patterns. And now I can just click on these and go through and maybe find one that works. And maybe none of them work and I need to go back to the drawing board, but at least kind of gives me an idea. Most of these are pretty cool. That one's kind of fun. I kind of like the colors in that one. So I might just leave that one for now. I am going to get rid of that stroke though. I do not want a stroke around the outside. Okay, that looks good. Got my layers up. So that's kind of like my background color now. I'm going to kind of fill in that edge there. Let's do Control T and I'll just stretch that up. There we go. Nice. And I actually think I'm going to stretch it a little further because there's this like funny line there I don't really like. So I'm going to stretch it a little further beyond the boundary box. It'll let me, maybe. Well, maybe not. It's fine. I just have to move it. There we go. Then I'll stretch it that way. a little bigger. I'm just trying to get rid of that awkward line. Maybe it's going to make it a lot bigger. There we go. Okay, I'll hit enter there. Okay, now one problem with this is that you don't necessarily know where you're going to fold, right? It's going to be folded on that line. So you have to remember that this is the back and this is the front. So something that might help with that, if I pull up my rulers here, if I can find it. Oh, I always lose my rulers. Let's see, it's probably under view. There we go, rulers. You can grab some guidelines here. And when you do that, you can also do snap and then view snap to, and that will let you, snap to the middle as well. See how it kind of like, it just pulls itself naturally, like almost like a magnet. There you go. And then that's just a guideline to help you know that that's the center, so you don't go too far over either edge. Remember to leave a little bit of outside edge. You don't want to put any important text right up against the edges here. So kind of imagine that there's a little frame. If you can't imagine that, feel free to grab a guideline like from your ruler again, and then just kind of put those guidelines in, and that will give you your bleed. Whoops, grab one from down there. I always forget you have to go that way. And then this way. So you just grab them from the rulers. And then I might grab one this way. So these will not print in the design. There we go. And now we have it pretty much set up. So that will help me visualize that this is the front cover. I'm also going to rasterize this rectangle. So I'm going to right click on this and rasterize it. Something else that you may consider, I'll just do Control Z to go back, is I can make a duplicate of that by doing Control J. So I made a copy, and I might just turn this one off and then rasterize this one. The nice thing about that is then you keep your shape layer, but then you have a rasterized copy of it. So it's just kind of nice to have a backup. Okay. Now from here, I was almost kind of thinking, instead of, this just being one full pattern, maybe I want to either put the pattern inside of something or maybe a solid shape on here. Like I'm kind of thinking maybe a Christmas tree or something. So I'm going to do a new layer here. And I may even start by just drawing a Christmas tree, and I can use the pen tool for that. So let's draw a Christmas tree. I don't really care about, whoops, try that again. Didn't get my first point apparently. Oops, I'm on the wrong one. That's right. There we go. So we'll just kind of do a generic Christmas tree, and I'm going to fill it with just black so I can see it better. There we go. We'll try it anyways. Now here you could use Pixabay images as well, but I'll just show you this way quick. This is not my best Christmas tree. I want to show you how you can do clipping masks for this one, which could be kind of fun. Okay. I'm going to right click on that layer and rasterize it. So we're going to pretend that that Christmas tree is really nice. All right, and I should rasterize that one. Now I should be able to do a clipping mask with the shape. I'm going to right click on this and do create clipping mask. And that's one way you can do that if you wanted like a pattern inside of a custom shape like that. That's one way to do it. I could also, if I just go back here, since this is the shape here is before I rasterize it. If I go back, there we go. So since this shape is a shape layer, I can actually now with my fill, go in and fill with that, install that again. Oops, there we go. With that pattern, like that. So there's lots of ways to do that. The main thing to remember is you just definitely need this completely filled with something. So a solid color, maybe you're going to have, I don't know, you can pull colors using the eyedropper tool, maybe whatever color you want. It doesn't have to be like green and red. You can really, play around with all different colors. And then maybe you need to add some kind of message to the front. So something, maybe season's greetings, happy holidays. And you can do that with the type tool. For this assignment, you definitely want to download some typefaces. So I would go to, dafont.com, download some typefaces, and, install those and then use those within your greeting card. From here, we'll just say that I have my front and back cover done here. I'm just going to export this as a PNG. You want it to be high quality, so PNG is good. We'll just call this front card. Now I can go to Adobe Illustrator. I'm on the right place. I'm going to say File, go, and then Place. find front card now. Go ahead and click, and then you can drag it and resize it if you need to. I don't think you'll probably need to resize too much. And from here, since the template actually is a little bigger than this, we're just going to try and center it. Perfect. Something else to be aware of, if you're putting things together in Illustrator, just remember that when you do view and show transparency grid, this is what we're looking at, right? So this is what we want to be cut out. If you look over here, there's still a bunch of transparency on the inside. So we actually need to fill that with something. Pay attention to that, especially if you forgot if you put anything in there or not. And that's going to be basically how you get started on this assignment. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Otherwise, have fun with it. Definitely start on the outside and back cover. And then as you work, you can work on the inside, front and back cover as well. All right, enjoy.